Oh man, inflation reading just in as Bitcoin breaks through a key resistance level here. We've just had a beat across the board on CPI inflation. As you can see here, year over year, beating inflation coming in lower than expected, 3.0 versus 3.2. The month over month meeting expectations, core inflation even notching down to 4.8 versus 5%. And the market is running on that news. We're going to take a look at where the price could move here. We've also got the latest update from Fantom on the multi-chain hack and a lot more. Smash the likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this type of content live when it matters most. Check out the links in the description to buy a bit to support the channel and trade some of your favorite cryptocurrencies. Guys, you can see here Bitcoin tried to break through what has been a very tough level of resistance. This yellow line here, we've been stuck below it, slightly above it, back below it again, struggling to beat it. We're trying to break through now here on this hourly candlestick, thanks in part to a very good CPI reading. Remember, CPI here has notched down very significantly. It dropped from 4% in the last reading down to 3%. Now, the markets expected a big fall. They priced in 3.2, but it's dropped all the way down to 3%, losing a whole percentage point in a month. That's a huge fall in headline inflation. Looking at the month over month, which is your run rate, that came down to 0.2 as expected. Looking at the core inflation, which is of course excluding food and energy, that was expected to come down here to 5%, but indeed that beat as well, coming in at 4.8. So a nice big notch down. Look at that gradient step chain there from 5.3 down to 4.8. America and the US continue to make very strong inroads into reducing inflation, unlike the UK here, who are making a complete, utter mess of the situation. Let's check in on the Fed rate monitor tool to see what's being priced in this market. The market's still going ahead and pricing in that we're going to get 25 basis points at the next meeting, which is just 14 days, 2 weeks from now. Let's see what they have priced in for September. At the next meeting, you can see that the majority of the market here in the September meeting expect to pause. So no longer are the market thinking we're going to get 2 rate hikes. The majority of the market, 3/4 of the market, are now saying we'll get 1 rate hike in 2 weeks' time, and most likely we will pause by September. One thing is for sure, we are making really good progress here. When I say we, I mean the US are making very good progress towards bringing inflation to the downside. The economy is still looking healthy. It doesn't look like right now we're getting rug pulled into a recession, and that is good for risk on assets. In fact, let's jump on over to see how the dollar index is responding, right? Because we know that Bitcoin is inversely correlated to our trusty dollar index. So what we would expect to see is that the dollar index should be moving to the downside. And you can see exactly that, down 0.5% here today, a big red hourly candlestick on the dollar index. But what's more important is this 4-hourly chart. In fact, let's look at it on the daily instead. On this daily chart, remember we were forming this big wedge on the dollar index, and we want to send it to the downside. We want it to break down from this wedge to the downside. This bad daily candle here for the dollar index due to the inflation reading could be the reason we break to the downside, retest on the back end, right? Something like this, break to the downside, retest here, and boom, send it to the downside for its next leg. And that's going to allow Bitcoin to go for its next leg. And that's the exciting thing right now here on the Bitcoin price, is we know we were consolidating around this level, right? We kind of hit a bit of a stuck level here where we couldn't go any further. But we know all our price targets continue to remain much higher than they are. Right? If you look at this falling wedge, we're just at the first price target, which is at the top of the wedge. We want to get the extended price target at 37. If you look at the cup and handle pattern, which we've been monitoring, that goes all the way up to 45K. So hopefully this can now be the catalyst, which gives us that next leg up towards the next price levels. Remember, we're just consolidating here. This bit which was difficult here is difficult here as well. Once we dry up all the selling pressure, all the weak hands who want to sell at 30K, maybe they bought at 15,500, 19,000, 20,000. They now want to sell at 30, 31K. Good, you guys sell. Because right now is a transition. We're moving to the people that want to jump on board right now and get on this bus up towards the next level, which is 37 and then 45. Because when we fell so quickly, so we want to fill that gap to the upside as well. Incidentally, Fantom is up 2% here today, recovering quite nicely after some of the concerns around the hack. You can see the hack there was that big, horrible red candlestick when Multichain got hacked for $126 million. Horrible 10% down day in Fantom, but it's managing to consolidate here. Now, we did get a few updates here on what's going on. If you take a look at this, which I posted in our Telegram, if you're not in our Telegram, ijaz.uk/TJ, what are you doing? Also, check out web3daily.info. This is our publication where we curate all the best news content plus publish our own as well. So if you're looking for a reliable place to get your crypto news, check it out, web3daily.info. Now, you can see here there's a lot of phishing scams going on, which I wanted to bring to the Fantom community's attention. There is a lot of people acting. I've even seen spam accounts like this pretending to look like the Fantom Foundation account and trying to phish you, pretending there's an airdrop or affected users and scamming you out of your money. So please do not fall for this. More importantly, we did get a tweet thread from the Fantom Foundation just a little while ago here, 20 minutes or so ago. We would like to acknowledge the difficult position many LPs, token holders, and users of the Fantom network due to the ongoing uncertainty around the multi-chain bridge. At this time, the Fantom Foundation is still awaiting for an official statement and guidance from Multichain. We would also like to clarify that there are no canonical bridges on the chain. Canonical in this sense means there is no official or singularly recognized bridge. Although the Fantom Foundation has always supported builders choosing what is best for themselves or their project and thus a stance of builder neutrality, much of the network's total value locked and volume has historically been driven by multi-chain, due in part to its early mover advantage. In light of the current events, the Fantom Foundation is taking a hands-on approach towards reducing the network's reliance on any one particular solution for bridging and liquidity. This is a bit of a tricky one, right? Because I've seen the kind of feelings in the community, and no doubt a lot of the Fantom community are hurt by what's going on. It's affected them financially, the lack of communications have been bothering them. But I can also appreciate the situation from Fantom's perspective as well. From Fantom Foundation's perspective, they're saying, hang on a second, we don't own this bridge, we're not multi-chain. Multi-chain have gone quiet, they're not giving updates. What are we supposed to do? What update can we give? We've not got an update to give. Right, but at the same time, the community going, just talk, like be available, be present, listen to our issues. Can you help in any way, right? Be communicative. And I think this is part of crisis management, right? We covered this before with Terra Luna, right? We covered this with many other projects. Some people, some projects are very new towards building, and they've not built many successful companies before. And sometimes what that means is there's a lack of experience in terms of crisis management. In crisis management, one of the first things you're always taught to do is to keep your lines of communication with your customer. It's very important. Now, I understand what Fantom is saying. They're saying it's nothing to do with us. It's a multi-chain's issue. But still, if your customers are affected, if they're hurt, at least communicate with them. Even if there's nothing you can do, communicate with them, be available, listen to their concerns. Is there anything you can input? Help them, just be there as a leaning shoulder. That's always important. Because particularly in the crypto world, when you go quiet, everybody just hears Terra Luna, they hear rug pull, they hear scam, they hear all that. So it's better that you're there, you act professional, and even if you don't have an update to give, you're just listening, you're being present, showing that you've not disappeared like the CEO of Multichain. This is something that should have been addressed before, right? This was the risk going into it, that Multichain was a monopoly of a bridge on the Fantom network. Everybody was using it, and nobody had a backup plan, and that's a bit of a problem. But we have to see how we crack on. One thing is for sure, like I've covered off in the previous videos, this is not a tech issue with Fantom. This is not Fantom having an outage. It's not Fantom getting hacked. It is a bridge. And time again, if you list the biggest hacks in the crypto network, whether it's the Solana, whether it was Fantom here, it's via the bridge. That is the attack vector by which hackers and scammers use. And for that reason, dApp developers, builders, users like yourselves, you need to be diversified. How many times do I have to screen this down this lens, right? You've got to be diversified. You can't blame anybody else. If you're using a bridge, it's a bridge. Right? Bridges, what do bridges do? They fall down. They do. And we need to understand that. Okay, so that's your update there on Fantom. As and when I hear anything, make sure you're in the Telegram for those updates. Jumping back here into the Bitcoin price, we've got a good CPI reading now. We're feeling positive. We need to clear this level, guys. Now or never, we've got to use this impetus, use this moment, use the dollar index moving to the downside to reclaim this level, to break above it. If we need to do something like this, great. But I want to see us break this level and start moving onwards. Right, let's move out of this consolidation period and let's go towards our next level of price target, up towards 37 and clearing these levels. But things are looking good. Things are looking so good, in fact, that you've got people like this, which is Tim Draper, coming out and saying Bitcoin is here to stay and could hit 250K in 2 years. What do these types of headlines remind you of, guys? Right? It reminds you of those bull market vibes where everybody's coming out, everybody's saying something positive is going to happen, everybody's throwing out these crazy price targets. It was just a few months ago that everybody was coming out with price targets that Bitcoin was going to 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000 and zero. It was dead. Suddenly how things change. But what's our job? Our job is to ignore all of this. We need to have a baseline level of conviction. We don't need to necessarily think we're going to 250K because that's not productive. We don't necessarily need to listen to the article saying we're going to 0K. That's not productive. We continue to plow on. We take the good information, we understand it, we look at the macroeconomics, we look at the fundamentals, we look at the technicals, and then we check our conviction in our favorite project. And if you're looking for tokens to add, if you're doing analysis, you want to go watch these videos here. I'm going to link up 2 videos, which I've posted over the last 2 days. One where I compare Cadena and Casper, and the other one Solana and Avalanche. And what I want you to do is use my philosophy, use my techniques for breaking down projects to decide which projects are strong, which are weak, what to look at when you're looking for projects to hold into the next bull run, because you've not got a lot of time left. You need to start adding to your portfolio and holding the tokens which you want to own into the next bull market. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Nice CPI inflation beat across the board here, and we move on here on the Bitcoin price. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash the likes. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.